Have any of you tried to get a new passport? They're really sophisticated right now. I think they almost look like those Harry Potter passports that the pictures move. All I'm saying is they're very, very sophisticated. But apparently, no matter their sophisticated, no matter their foolproof technology, ISIS can imitate it. ISIS can make a double of whatever we crank out here, or even in Germany, where they're really nuts about passports. Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer says, be afraid, be very afraid, because, you know, Colonel, I was thinking of you, they're churning these out like crazy, right, and no one, I'm telling you, no one can tell the difference. It's scary.
Well, that's the problem. You lined it up exactly as it is. There are measures in every passport, Neil, which are designed for purposes of defeating the individual from spoofing it, from being a false passport. So what has happened here is ISIS has been able to obtain two things which are critical to being able to create real fakes. Fakes which will withstand scrutiny, that is, Neil, of going through international boundaries. Which one is the technology that was resident in Iraq, in Syria, and Libya. Each of those governments had their own techniques which were embedded in their passports, which were supposed to be show that they're authentic as you pass through international boundaries. Secondly, they're well funded. They're probably the best funded terrorist organization ever in history, and they've got a lot of money that they can go around and shop for all sorts of upgrades and things like that.
Yeah, but Colonel, I think it's more than that. Someone must be helping them. I don't want to, you know, cast the black helicopter spy crowd, but I mean, I know with some of these new passports, right, they have special coatings and right, ink and magnetic strips that are combined in such a way, I'm told, Neil, no one can possibly imitate this. Well, apparently ISIS is, right, which leads me to suspect or fear that someone in the inside, either here or in Germany or these places where they have these foolproof passports, that they're not so foolproof.
Well, that's the issue. I think this is where the well funding comes into it. Look, they're going to be doing this, Neil, as a profit center for themselves. ISIS will do this as a criminal enterprise. And the money they make off that will be turned back around to fund what they're doing. And also, more importantly, they're going to buy the technology from the countries you're talking about. Germany, there may be one or two bad eggs who are willing to sell this to them. That's all it takes. And once you have that technology defeated, that is to say, you give it to ISIS, there's no way we can walk it back. There's no way you can fix it. So this is what we're now faced with. And frankly, they have shown the ability to learn quickly, which they are. And what happens when you ignore a threat like this? Let me go back real quick and hit the White House on this. Look, we've known this was coming for 2 years. Now, because we were so lacking in our willingness to go and deal with this as a real threat, you're going to see these guys move out like spiders all over the place and be able to penetrate all sorts of Western countries.
Well, to your point, we already know from the 9/11 hijackers that a lot of them had legal passports and visas. They didn't sneak and do anything nefarious.
Right.
If they could do that then with perfectly legal documentation, imagine what you can do leaping on real McCoy imitators, right, as we saw certainly in Paris, as we saw twice in Paris, as we saw even in Spain with the Madrid.
And let's remember, Neil, we've targeted certain countries we know are ISIS countries. Well, now they can have the ability of basically coming from other countries that we're not monitoring directly. So this is another.
So what do we do? How can we stop it?
Well, we need to figure out where they're doing it and attack it. I mean, you need to go to the source here. You've got to figure out where the factories are, where they're building these things, who's selling the technology, and frankly, there's things you can do to basically poison pill. Once you find out how this is being done, yeah, Neil, you can penetrate basically the supply chain and do things to be able to put essentially like a dye going in the bloodstream downrange. We need to be doing all that. I'm not sure we are right now.
I hear you. Colonel, always a pleasure. Right. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir.